So I'm wondering about language today. How many folks here have studied Hebrew? I need my Hebrew scholars. Okay, all right, yes, Jesse, Richard, Larry is not even, just a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, so all you Hebrew scholars, what is the word for life? Okay. All you musical theater fans, do you know the word for life in Hebrew? Think about a musical where there are many Hebrew speakers in the cast. Okay, Fiddler on the Roof. Anybody watch Fiddler on the Roof? Okay. So there is a song in that musical where they use the word for life in Hebrew. They actually say to life. L'chaim is to life. Chaim is life. And somebody here, probably Richard maybe, said it better than I just did. But to life is l'chaim in Hebrew. That word is featured in that musical many, many times in that scene. And it's also the same word that is featured 8 times in 5 verses that Carol read today from Deuteronomy. Same word. L'chaim is the title of a song sung in celebration. If you remember the musical, there's a big celebration. And the celebration brings together people, men, who generally are not together, people who do not spend time together, who are culturally different and religiously different and linguistically different. And these very, very different men, they begin to sing together and even to dance together in a celebration of life. Now, the conflicts and differences that existed between them were still there after the celebration. That is, their celebration did not dissolve the problems of the present. But for an evening, all those men made a decision to choose life and to celebrate that choice together, even with people whom they generally would consider enemies. In our text from Deuteronomy today, Moses calls upon the children of Israel to choose life, which might have sounded odd and even off-putting after everything that had happened to them. The children of Israel had been enslaved in Egypt for hundreds of years and then wandered in the desert for 40 more. Many of the original group who fled Egypt were dead and gone, buried in alien lands. And many others could recall hard times on the road, doubts, fears, battles, struggles within the community, attacks from outside the community, and internal struggle in the community. And grief of losing those who had been there at the beginning, who gave the community its identity. This would really have given them pause. Yet Moses says to this vagabond people, harboring hurts and anxieties, carrying loads of emotional baggage, for whom the future described by Moses seemed but a dream, Moses says to these people, choose life. And I can imagine them being quite confused about what that meant. Moses' call to choose life is not an easy call. It was not easy for the children of Israel to envision a future in which life was one of the choices, that you could actually freely choose life. It wasn't easy for the children of Israel. It wasn't easy in the early 1900s for Jewish communities living in Imperial Russia, the setting for Fiddler on the Roof, where mass evictions called pogroms. Remember your history? The history of pogroms that included brutal violence, bloodshed, loss of property, and loss of life. These were common. And it's not easy for us to choose life. It's not easy for Presbyterians in Findlay, Ohio in 2016. In fact, it is never easy to choose life. Moses doesn't say, we need to look at this verb. To choose is different than to accept, or to open yourself, or to be aware of life. To choose is active. We have to actively do it. It's not something you can just slide into. The people of faith throughout the ages are called to actively decide to choose life, not fear. To choose life, not anger. Life, not doubt or anxiety. Life, not division and disunity. God calls us all to choose life. For us today, it means to choose life means to celebrate the gift of life with people who are different from us. It means to have faith in God's future, to believe in God's future, a future we can't even see yet. It means to view those in the community, those we love, those with whom we agree, and those with whom we have difficulty, with whom we struggle to find relationship. To choose life is to view all of those people, everyone, as gifts of life, gifts for which to thank God. People who, each and every one, carry the image of God, who can teach us, therefore, about God and about life. We are called to choose life in all its messiness, in all its chaos. To choose life means to accept the awkward with the awesome, the wearying with the wonderful, the confusing with the creative. To choose life is to believe in it, and to deny power, therefore, to deny power and energy to forces that suggest that life is not possible, that death and calamity are going to win the day, that destruction is more powerful than hope. To choose life is to say yes to God's future, and no to the idea that God's world or God's church are falling down and on their way out. We will come to the table of the Lord today. And at the table of our Lord, we will talk about Jesus being betrayed. And we will remind each other to remember his death until he comes again. We must also remember at this table that Jesus, in going to the cross, answered the call to choose life. You need to listen here because it's a paradox that is foundational for who we are as Jesus followers. Jesus believed in the power of life. He believed in life because the power of life is the power of God, and he believed in life, and he chose life so strongly that he went to his death. You get the paradox there? He chose life and believed in life so strongly that he went to his death on a cross in a choice that gives life to all of us. When we gather at this table, we are putting ourselves in a place where power is available to us. We present ourselves ready to be energized for this holy choice to choose life. We gather for this holy meal saying, we all we choose life. We choose life. And we will persist in choosing life. Our choice for life must be robust. For the choice is not an easy one, but it is the only road that leads to life. So, in relationships we can see that are not going well, in situations that we fear will end badly, among people with whom we struggle, we are called to choose life. May this feast nourish our hope, strengthen our resolve, and warm our hearts, that we may choose life at this table and throughout the week that is to come. Thanks be to God for the gift of life.